Good sunrise, illuminators and way showers, thank you for creating this now moment with me. Thank you. I'm just sitting here on my front porch at sunrise, and I thought how much I would love to share the sunrise with you. It's been a really long time since I've taken out my camera and done a sunrise blessing. I was especially feeling the serious energy. There's a being that is, I don't know, I guess, of course, everything is part of our consciousness, everything. So welcome to the metaphysical. Oh, sorry, that's my dog Abby with her bone. Enjoying the morning here with me. When I first started making videos, there was a being that would come to me, and she literally called herself Soon Risa, and of course, sunrise. So, of course, these things are part of us, and they're our consciousness and a part of us and our soul and oversoul fractals. And so I guess I was feeling her energy this morning. It was a beautiful full moon. It is a beautiful full moon last night. Laid out under the moonlight for a while, right up until, well, a little after midnight. And just reminding myself this morning that the moonlight, and I was also reminded about the connection to the moon and the water, of course, because it governs our tides, and that includes the tides within us. So as we cycle through these moon cycles, which are really the sun cycles, they're, you know, being that it is a reflection of the sun off of the moon, we often think of it as moonlight, meaning and that it's, you know, creating its own light, and yet it's reflections of the light, reflections of our sun, reflections of our earth. And we had all this cut down these last couple of days, so it's all kind of restored and rejuvenated, and now it's cut down and so much more to see, and you can really appreciate more of the elevations. Might be kind of hard to tell from here with the sunrise, but so Soon Risa was a part of me that would come and offer light language blessings and channeled messages in the morning, early in the morning. And so I was feeling their energy, the serious energy this morning, of that part of me. And there's so much pouring in that I want to say, but I don't want to convolute it. So Soon Risa, the serious energy, as Sirius being one of our guides, helping us through this ascension process. And when I say helping us, what I mean is that we feel their guidance and their presence, and when we dream, we converse with these other beings. And in my paintings, I'm literally having conversations with them while I'm painting and bringing through this, I don't know, I want to say stream of, I don't want to call it cosmic necessarily, but it is. It's this stream of information that even bypasses my own brain. And it, like, I don't know, it's almost like I'm immersed in it. And then I integrate it, and it's a part of me. And that's part of what this channeling process is for all of us, is understanding that, yes, we can speak from another perspective as channels and speak from their voice. Yet I believe, at least for me, the idea, and I think for most of us, really is the idea is that we're integrating all of these parts of us, and that it's reducing the separation, not reinforcing it. So as we begin to understand that we're all channeling these parts of us, that everything we do and see and hear and touch and taste and feel is our consciousness, we begin to literally feel time and space becoming malleable. We begin, and it almost feels uncomfortable because it's what we're used to, but we feel less discord, more connect. But yet, as the more we connect to all of these parts of us, we almost do feel more of the discord, because the belief systems attached to those the I should say the actions tied to those belief systems begin to change. And those actions that are tied to belief systems that don't make sense in this new paradigm, that when we raise our consciousness and see things from a higher perspective, we realize that it not only seems illogical to continue to believe things that really aren't part of our new reality. Call it the age of Aquarius, call it the awakening. They're just not part of that frequency. And as we raise our frequency and start to see these things, the tendrils, the things that were the threads that were tied to those belief systems simply begin to fray away, literally fray away. Our brain synapses, same thing. We recreate our brain synapses based upon these new frequencies, new circuitry. And as I've been downloading and getting all these downloads all these years about the sacred circuitry and all of these symbols, it's literally an integration for all of us to understand that we're always speaking from the perspective of our own collective consciousness, all our pieces. So, when we're looking at the moonlight and seeing our sun reflecting this light off the moon, we're receiving, literally, as many of us have come to understand, the light codes. And when we say light codes, I want to maybe change that to information, data. When we say light codes, it seems so woo-woo. Yet what it is, it's simply information stored in light, because everything was light before it was anything else. Before it was speech, before it was physical, light is light. And as light itself wanted to know more of itself and express itself through each and every one of us and all that is and all the things, which that could go on infinitely. We understand that the codes that we're receiving, the information, the data that we're receiving, is information from all the parts of us and from our higher. We are a consciousness having a physical reality. Our body is in our consciousness. And once we begin to actually integrate that information, it no longer, the things that, the beliefs that that we held on to that felt so comfortable, no longer feel comfortable. They don't even make sense anymore. Oh, look at that, you guys. This is how the Languages of Lights was born. With the emissaries of the Light Collective, early in the morning, walking my dog, and I began to hear this. I say hear, but I don't even know that I want. But I heard it. I heard it as words and language. So it's as if we're all okay. If everything's now and the past is now and the present is now, and we're creating the future from now, and everything already exists right now, then we're always receiving this information all the time. And the real question is what are we doing with it now? How are we empowering ourselves with it? How is it changing our lives and how we react, how we respond? And really, you become more at peace, more calm with this understanding that we are all now making decisions from a completely different frequency. And what was uncomfortable to keep believing now just becomes more uncomfortable because it's just too much baggage. It's too heavy to carry things that don't make sense anymore. And then to react and act and make decisions in our, what we're acting out as our physical reality, to make decisions upon that frequency. So back to the serious energy. So as Bashar has said, channeled through Daryl, that the serious energy, and this is not just that, and I guess that's why the point I'm making too is, it's not just them sending the energy. It's all of the particles and aspects of light, and from the beginning of light and all that is light, because everything is light before it's anything else. That is the languages of lights. And so with that said, bringing forth, whether it's these messages, whether it's light languages, whether it's literally the way the light is fluttering off of, as I've mentioned a million times in these videos, the way the light flutters off of the trees and the water and the grass and the ground and the dew in the morning. And then we get into the idea of the elementals and elements and elements. What are elements? It's what we're all made of. It's the building blocks of everything. We've all decided that we're all going to be made of the same thing. So when it comes right down to the elements. So here's my front porch. So when I sit here, excuse me, Abby, when I sit here, the sun rises like right between these posts. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing to show you guys. That and the spider webs. And it is always a joy and a pleasure and a passion for me to just raise our awareness of all of this that I receive. It's like a push of wanting to share the information, because I know that somehow, some way, it's going to benefit somebody. That when we truly begin to understand that we are nature, and we know, oh, here comes our neighbor. When we know that all of this is information, we start to see nature from a completely different perspective, and understand it from a different perspective. I paused for a moment. The neighbor stopped to admire the cut grass. He recommended someone to us to cut all of this. This elevation, I don't know if you guys can really tell, but this elevation is really something. You really cannot tell until you walk down there. So it's been difficult for a variety of reasons, which I won't get into now, but it's been very difficult to even find somebody to be able to mow this. But anyway, I digress. So yes, I'll be taking some more nature walks now that I'm able to, with the grass is cut, and Dave and I will walk around and show you around a little bit more. And Abby's really loving it. But anyway, I just wanted to take this once again. I always say just. I wanted to take this momentous breath with all of you. And when we understand that, when we see things from the perspective of see things from the perspective of the light, which I'm not even sure exactly what they mean by that. See things from the perspective of the light. It's almost as if they're saying to me, seeing things from the perspective of the light is looking at a mirror of ourselves. Oh, and that's what they wanted to say too, that absolutely everything we see here on Earth is a mirror of our structure, of our compounds, what we're made of. Every single thing we see is a reflection of what we are. And so when we know that, and they know that, when we spend more time in nature, and say, for example, for me, even sitting here early in the morning and sitting outside with Abby and being able to appreciate these moments, and it doesn't matter what time you're doing this or getting up, it's not saying you have to get up at sunrise. Though there's some very special frequencies, I will say, early in the morning that they tell me is pretty important to us. But not everybody can do that, so I understand that. But it's walking through nature or sitting there, and all of a sudden you're just kind of immersed in the frequency, and you're in such a high vibration that you're looking at a leaf, for example, or maybe you're looking at the water sparkling, and all of a sudden you just burst into tears. And you may not even be sure why, but what's happening is you're literally breaking down a belief system, even if you're not consciously aware of which one it is, maybe. And you're having this epiphany, this realization that literally brings you to tears, even if you don't even understand exactly the nature of it. And that's okay. That's the point. That's really the point. So as we observe nature, we see the reflections of ourselves, and then we're able to more easily appreciate that this is a reflection of all that we are. And then we see it in a new way. We see ourselves in a new way. And then when we see ourselves in a new way, we're able to have these kinds of awakenings on a literally a daily basis, where the answers that you've been looking for, whether it's, do I move? Do I stay? Do I get a new job? Do I stay with my partner? Do I get a pet? All of these things, those are where the answers come in. What does my heart tell me I'm to do right now? Do I, if you've contemplating looking for another job, or all of these things, when we trust that the answers are going to be right here, that's when we find them. And then we'll burst into tears or get so excited because we think of something that we would have never thought before, because we're in that moment. I used to take my lunch hour every single day at the forest preserve and sit and eat my lunch. Actually, that is what changed my life in so many ways, you guys. Oh my gosh, now that I think about it, but that changed my life. Going to find, and I know that this isn't available to everybody. I was very fortunate to be able to sit and go literally 2 seconds away from work, and have my lunch every day at the forest preserve. But if we can spend that time, and then I started walking. I started walking the track there, and all of these things while I'm retired basically now, but in a sense, but in the sense of that I don't have a 9 to 5 or Dave is still working, although he works remotely, thank goodness. He loves it. But the point is while I was still working, so for those of you who are still working, that's how I sort of became more and more, it was part of my awakening process. The more I spent in nature, the more I wanted to be in nature, the more I did that, the more information started pouring in, the more I could hear the angels talking to me. I could hear other beings, and then when I started speaking light languages, I felt as if I was integrating all of these parts of my cosmic self, my consciousness, and what comes through is the language of all the hearts, if that makes sense, of all of these beings. The hearts, literally, their souls are coming through these languages. And when we can look at this from a much more infinite standpoint, we understand that there's so much more information when we're quiet, when we're still. So thank you for joining me for this meandering and moshing through my consciousness. I wish you all I think what really we healers, if you want to call it, guides, what we want is to take the information we're receiving, and I call it gifts because I feel as if it's a gift to me, to share with all of you, just to make your days a little brighter, a little easier too. How do you maneuver through the everyday stuff? Whether it's, whatever partnerships, whether it's partnerships or of any kind, children, being a parent, I've been there, done that too. It really helps us create a reality that we prefer, and allowing us to believe more fully we can move, we can do what we want to do and be fulfilled, be loved, be supported, know that we're guided, know we're supported, know we're fulfilled by doing the things that we love. So I love all of you. And thank you for your love and support, and continuing to share your love, your comments with me, your all of it, just all of it. If you're new to my channel, check out my languagesoflights.com and come hang out with me. Whatever you might be struggling with or curious about, maybe I can help. To see your own light, to help you through something, to push you out into the spotlight, to get your motor running on something that you've been wanting to do and have fears about it. Vajima timboto mia mamoya kote. Mina mia bukure veshano, to see your own light, to know thyself more fully. For that's why we came. That's why we are concentrating and focusing on this physical togetherness. To know ourselves more fully, and that all that is knows itself more fully through you and me, and our understandings, our processes. I, Wendy, see and draw to me through divine light those beings who seek enlightenment through my process. The sharing will elevate us both now. A quote brought to us through Esther Hicks, channeled by her from a being called Theo. Thank you, Theo. I love that statement every day. So I hope that my process helps all of you just a little bit, and that it elevates you in some way to be more and more of all that you are, to love yourselves more fully, trust yourself more fully, for the answer really does lie within you. I am simply your reflection, creating words in a way, in a shape, in a form that you can hear them, that your heart can hear them. And I love you. Mamoro po ante savisheo. Kaje te moya maya haiti koporoshono. Pleveso motombeke anaya lila. It's like I feel like, okay, this is like the number 11, my birth month, the master number, the pillars. You are the pillars of light. Neshakiata shanjomakali tayunto topoya ayashanake talyala. Beautiful pillars of